Welcome back to the AAA Ball and Play podcast, where contracts meet crossovers, NIL meets net rating, and we try to keep your draft party from turning into a group therapy session. I'm Lee Walpole Lassiter, sports attorney, athlete agent, and professional buzzkill when the numbers don't match.
Yo, I'm Michael Agwara, former strength coach, athlete agent, and the guy who's going to tell the truth about your conditioning and your contract hustle.
All right, first things first. To everybody who showed up for our live WPBL draft stream, y'all were incredible. You turned a first ever women's pro baseball draft into a community watch party. So from us to you, thank you. You helped make history louder.
And if you were in there sweating on behalf of somebody you love, whether they be a daughter, teammate, or a friend, we saw you. That tension, very real. And that joy, very real. So that silence when the name didn't get called, that's also real too.
Which brings us to today's episode titled Drafted, Dashed, or Undiscovered.
Because the last 72 hours in women's sports have been crazy. The WPBL draft turned hundreds of dreams into about 120 names on the screen. And only about 60 actual roster spots down the line. The WNBA Draft Lottery is about to decide who gets the top 5 picks and who's going to spend the next week staring at probability chart wondering what they did in the past life.
So in this episode, we're doing 3 things. First is the WPBL Reality Check. We're pulling back the curtain on what that draft really meant. Spoiler, being drafted does not guarantee a contract, and half of those players won't make opening day rosters.
We're breaking down the lottery, how the lottery works, which teams actually own which picks, and why Sunday night on ESPN is less about luck and more about long-term asset strategy. 3, the drafted, dashed, or undiscovered part. We're talking directly to the athletes, the ones who got drafted, the ones who got left out, and the ones who haven't been seen yet, but will be. If you're a player, parent, coach, or a fan trying to make sense of all of this, this one's for you. We're going to talk contracts, probabilities, roster math, and also the stuff nobody wants to say out loud. What happens when you get drafted and then cut, what to do when your name doesn't show up on any broadcast graphic, and how to keep building when the league doesn't know your name yet.
We're also going to give you language, the actual words to use at the kitchen table, with your kid who just got drafted and thinks they're set, with your kid who didn't get drafted and thinks that they're done, with yourself if you're an athlete trying to decide whether to chase this, pause this, or pivot this. So grab your notebook, your water bottle, and maybe your feelings, because we're going to talk about the difference between a night and a career.
This is episode 13 of the AAA Ball and Play podcast, Drafted, Dashed, or Undiscovered, the apex of opportunity. Let's get into it.
Draft night is a rush. Phones buzzing, families crying, players refreshing their names like it's Ticketmaster on a pit bull presale. But here's the truth. The WPBL draft is not a contract. It's not even a roster spot. It's a claim, a bookmark, a team saying, hey, we like you. Maybe.
And today we're unpacking the whole thing. Money, housing, who actually gets signed, who gets cut, what contracts will look like, and what happens if your phone never rang. So buckle up, because it's the inaugural season, and the truth is way messier than the highlight reel. The league is still a newborn giraffe, a baby giraffe, wobbling around on its brand new legs. Adorable but unstable. And the timeline reflects that.
Draft was November 20th. Great, fun, dramatic, and super fast. But the next meaningful day, it's not tomorrow. It's not next week.
Training camp doesn't start until months from now. Just a short 4-day window right before the season starts. And depending on which official source you look at, the FAQ or earlier interviews, we're looking at a season starting in August of 2026, with all games centralized at Roberts Stadium in Springfield, Illinois.
So you've got draft in November, months of silence, a 4-day mini camp, cut down chaos, and then a 7-week season. Draft night is chapter 1. We are nowhere near the epilogue.
And meanwhile, half of those drafted players are going to be out here training in blizzards, in gyms that smell like old socks, trying to not to lose their minds, wondering if they're one of the ones who gets signed or gets dropped.
Let's talk money, because people love to pretend the WPBL is the next gold rush, and it's not yet. Each team gets roughly $95,000 per blah, blah. Oh my gosh. Each team gets roughly $95,000 total for player salaries. Not per player, per roster. Roster size is around 15 players, so do the math. That's about $6,300 per player for the whole season, or roughly $1,000 a week. And yes, that's before taxes, and yes, I'm a tax attorney, and yes, I'm screaming internally too.
This isn't generational money. This is do it for the culture, or do it for the platform, or do it because baseball finally loves you the way that you love it.
Exactly. What you're really getting paid is housing during the season, game day meals, some travel stipends, a cut of sponsorship revenue, and a chance to build a brand while the lights are on. The money is consistent with a startup league, but it's not a career salary. It's a seasonal stipend with potential upside if the league takes off. Here's the part I really geek out on just a little bit. Contracts. The WPBL has not released its standard player contract publicly, but we know the bones of it. Players will be paid per game, and it'll be tiered by draft position. Early picks get more, later picks get less. Think of it as the world's shortest rookie scale.
These will be one-season contracts and not multi-year deals. You're signing for the 2026 season only. But, and this is important, the team owns your rights once they draft you. They can trade those rights, they can hold them, and they can choose not to sign you at all. This is draft first, negotiate later, not draft equals contract.
And don't forget the fine print. There will be moral clauses, media clauses, appearance requirements, NIL usage rights, medical waivers, and behavioral standards. If this was the MLB, there'd be 80 pages. Here, it'll probably be 12, but the teeth will still be there.
And watch the IP clauses. With Fremantle filming content, there will be a lot of language about documentary rights, image usage, and media access. Agents, pay attention. This isn't throwaway boilerplate. Protect your athlete's future brand.
Now the hardest part, cut season. The league invited over 600 players to try out over the summer. Only 150 made it to the draft pool. Only 120 were drafted, and only 60 will make the final rosters. That means half the drafted players will not make a team. So let me say that again. Half of the drafted players will not make a team.
Draft night was a celebration. Training camp will be a bloodbath. Imagine getting drafted on a Thursday and then cut the following Wednesday. That's the reality. This league is brand new. They don't have room for sentiment. They have room for 15 players per team. Period.
So if you're a round 5 or 6 pick, you're in for the fight of your life at camp. Drafted players aren't competing with the field. They're competing with each other for a job.
And some drafted players, they won't even get invited to the camp. That's how league startups work.
If your phone didn't ring on draft night, or if you were drafted but never signed, you're not done. You're a free agent. You can play independent women leagues, join national teams, train for next year, build your brand, use the exposure from the draft to get camps, clinics, or NIL work. There's dignity and momentum in being part of the inaugural draft class, even without a roster spot.
And listen, baseball's a long road. Plenty of hoopers and ball players didn't get the call until the 3rd or 4th time around. Rejection is not a prophecy, it's just another Tuesday.
The WPBL is a landmark moment. The first real professional women's baseball league in the United States with salaries, housing, and a central stage. But it is also a startup, which means volatility, uncertainty, and a lot of growing pains. So if you were drafted, celebrate. If you weren't drafted, keep playing. If you were on the bubble, or if you're on the bubble, train like your life depends on it. 2026 is coming fast.
And if you're an agent, Pack some antacids and get ready. And if anybody wants to turn their draft party into an actual contract party, you know where to find us.
This league is not just building teams, it's building history. And history gets messy before it gets magical. Stick with us and we'll walk you through all of it. All right, so let's pivot from the WPBL chaos and jump over to the other half of the universe, the 2026 WNBA Draft Lottery.
This isn't just ping pong balls in a vacuum. This is an asset event. This is the moment where 2 years of wins, losses, and trades turn into 5 draft slots, and that will shape the league for the next half decade.
So tonight's segment, we're calling it the apex of opportunity.
Which sounds like a Marvel movie, but is actually even more stressful if you're a general manager.
So let's start with the basics so everybody's on the same page. The 2026 WNBA Draft Lottery is being run as a 30-minute special on ESPN tonight. Short window, big stakes. You've got 5 lottery picks being set, the top 5 in the 2026 draft. That order, that exact ladder, is going to dictate who gets a shot at Lauren Betts, who might land Olivia Miles, who ends up living in the "we swear this wing we drafted at 5 is really good" zone. Bethany Donovan, I hope I'm saying that right, Bethany Donovan, the WNBA's head of league operations, is the one who steps out on camera and reads the results. She's the face we see, but the actual drawing, that's happening off camera, supervised by an outside accounting firm. Think Ernst & Young in suits, not mascots and confetti.
Yeah, this isn't some backyard AAU raffle. This is your franchise might land a generational center or might slide into years of mid. So 30 minutes of ESPN sounds small, but what's really happening is 30 minutes to watch the next 5 years of your favorite team's future either level up or evaporate.
Exactly. And that's why they keep the show tight. There's no 3-hour pregame, no 47 on-set breakdowns. They go straight to the good part. They reveal the order, let the league's fan bases spiral in real time. All right. Michael, talk to me like I'm a paranoid fan for a second, because every time there's a draft lottery, someone's in comments like rigged, frozen envelope, big market conspiracy.
Yeah, this is where the independent accounting firm comes in. The WNBA uses a third-party auditor, historically Ernst & Young, to actually conduct and verify the draw. That means, 1, the auditor is the first one who reads the real order. 2, the league officials, like Donovan, are the ones who announce it. And 3, and all of this is done under a preset probability structure everyone already knows. That outside firm is there so when the team jumps or slides, the league can say, look, you may not like the result, but the math was clean.
Right. You're not just trusting the league, you're trusting people whose entire brand is accounting and accountability.
Exactly. And in a world where one pick can mean millions in player value, ticket sales, jersey sales, and long-term competitive window, you need that extra layer of credibility.
Now let's talk mechanics, because this lottery is not just worst record gets best odds. And that's the whole story. The WNBA system is hybrid, part chance, part guaranteed floor. So here's the setup. Only non-playoff teams are in the lottery. For 2026, the pool is based off the records of Dallas, Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, and Connecticut. But the picks themselves are mostly owned by other people because of trades. We'll get to that chaos in a second. The odds, they're based on 2 years of records, 2024 and 2025 together, not just one season.
So they're not rewarding we tanked for 4 months. They're rewarding we've been struggling for a long time.
Exactly. The 2-year cumulative record is a built-in anti-tanking measure. You can't just slam on the brakes in 1 year and vault to the top. You have to be bad over time to get the best odds. Now, the actual draw, there are 14 balls, number 1 to 14. They draw 4 balls at once to create a unique 4-number combination. That means there are 1,001 possible combinations. 1,000 of those are assigned to teams based on odds. One combo, 11, 12, 13, 14, is left unassigned. If it comes up, they redraw. So the first winning combination That's your number one pick.
Right. Then they, put the balls back in, spin it again, and then draw a second 4-ball combo to determine the number 2 pick. So, importantly, if you miss out on number 1, the number 1 pick, your odds don't get worse for number 2. You get another full bite at that apple. So, in gym rat language, everybody has their weighted odds on the first possession. Shot goes up, bucket, reset the possession arrow, keep the same weighting, shoot again for the second pick.
Exactly. After picks 1 and 2 are set, they don't draw again, though. Picks 3, 4, and 5 are just assigned based on 2-year record, worst to best among the teams that didn't win the top 2. That rewards consistent struggle with a guaranteed floor and kills some of the we drop to 5 in a 5-team lottery nightmare. Now let's meet the players on the board. Not the athletes, but the teams and their assets. We've got 5 lottery slots, but one of them is actually controlled by the team whose bad record produced it.
Here's the lineup. Number 1, Dallas Wings. They control their own pick. 2-year record of 19 wins and 65 losses.
Wow.
They get 420 out of 1,000 combinations. That's 42% odds for the number 1 pick, and they cannot fall below number 3.
Right. So then team 2, we've got the Minnesota Lynx, but this is via Chicago's record. So Chicago's 2-year record is 23 and 61. Minnesota holds 261 combinations for a 26.1% odds for number 1. And this is the reward for some very intentional trading on their part over the past couple years. Then 3, you have the Seattle Storm via Los Angeles. The Sparks record is 29 to 55. And so Seattle gets 167 combinations for 16.7% odds for number 1.
Washington Mystics with their own pick. 2-year record, 30 wins, 54 losses, 97 combinations. 9.7% odds for number 1. Chicago Sky via Connecticut. The Suns' record is 39 and 45. Only 55 combinations at 5.5% odds at number 1. And a whole lot of this is probably pick number 5.
Yeah. So to translate this into real talk, Dallas is sitting on the throne. Minnesota is that kid who robbed the Chicago piggy bank early. Seattle bet on the Sparks being mid, and it paid off. Washington is living in the stress zone, and Chicago is basically praying for a miracle from a pick that came from Connecticut while watching their own record benefit Minnesota. So let's go team by team and talk best case versus most likely outcome. Dallas Wings, 42% chance of the number 1 pick. About 30.2% at number 2. If they don't get either of these, like we said, they're guaranteed number 3. So their worst case scenario is still a top 3 pick. So that makes their average expected pick to be around 1.9. Dallas isn't living in fear tonight. They're living in a which kind of good are we getting?
This is like ordering from a menu where the worst possible outcome is still you're getting something fire. Calm down.
Right?
Minnesota Lynx via Chicago, 26.1% at number 1, 28.5% at number 2. But the single highest probability, pick number 3 at 38.5%. And about 7% at number 4. They cannot fall to number 5.
So Minnesota's living in the we did the right thing, but might not get the top prize neighborhood.
This is the downside of being the smart trader. You bought high equity, but the math says the most likely outcome is amazing player, but not the franchise cornerstone you dreamed of when you made the deal.
So Seattle Storm via LA, they've got a 16.7% chance at number 1, 20.8% chance roughly at number 2, and about a 33.7% chance at number 3. And then 27.7% at number 4. And then a tiny 1.2% chance of sliding all the way down to 5. Their profile is spread across the middle. They're not as secure as Dallas. They're not as concentrated as Minnesota, but very live to land in that 3 to 4 range and still grab a major piece.
Washington Mystics, they have 9.7 for number 1, 13% for number 2, and then the rules kick in and they are overwhelmingly likely to live at number 4 or number 5. Once the first 2 picks are gone, Washington's profile becomes 65.4% at number 4 and 12% at number 5.
They're basically walking into the gym knowing this is either an incredible miracle or we're drafting in that uncomfortable, not tanking, not quite contending zone.
Chicago Sky via Connecticut. This is the wild one. 5.5% at number 1, 7.6% at number 2, and then an 86.9% chance of landing number 5.
So Chicago is living 2 realities at once. Probable reality, they get pick number 5 from Connecticut while watching Minnesota benefit from the pick their own bad record created. Alternate universe, that tiny 5.5% spike turns into number 1 overall, and suddenly they have a franchise-altering piece from a pick that was never supposed to be that valuable.
This is that I put $5 on a long shot parlay energy. Most of the time you lose the $5, but the one time it hits, your phone blows up.
So why does all this matter? Because the 2026 class is loaded at the top. Your tier 1 board looks something like this. Lauren Betts, UCLA, the consensus is number 1. She's true anchor big, interior scoring, rebounding, rim protection. For a team like Dallas with a 1965 record, oh my goodness, that's like where I'm from. It's very sad. Pairing a big like Betts with the right guards would rewire their entire identity.
Olivia Miles, point guard, TCU, high-level floor general, elite playmaking, reads the floor, runs an offense. She's the kind of guard who can raise the ceiling on everyone else you already have.
Awa Fam, center Valencia. She's the top international prospect. She's another high-level center, meaning the number 3 pick is still extremely valuable if you build your game around the paint.
Azzi Fudd, shooting guard from UConn. Perimeter sniper with name recognition and a big game profile. Add spacing, scoring, and marketing juice. Mm-hmm. Then you have Flau'Jae Johnson, shooting guard from LSU. Versatile wing guard, big personality, big brand, can create off the dribble, and impact multiple phases of the game.
Yes. And beyond that, you have players like Miss Kiki Rice, Tania Latson, Reagan Beers floating around in the mix, which means picks 3 to 5 are far from consolation prizes.
Translation, Betts is your build the whole house around me center. Miles is your give me the ball, I'll organize the chaos point guard. Fam, Fudd, and Flau'Jae, you're talking about players who can change lineups and ticket sales on day 1.
So let's zoom out from the math and talk strategy. Dallas Wings. If Dallas lands number 1 and grabs Betts, the rebuild shifts instantly. You're no longer asking who is our core. You're asking how do we surround her with shooters, veteran guards, and a stable system so this doesn't turn into another we wasted a generational big story. Their free agency board and trade calls change that night.
Minnesota Lynx via Chicago. For Minnesota, this lottery is about validating the trade strategy. If they land in the top 1 or 2, their front office gets to walk into every meeting going, see, this is why we did it. If they land number 3, which is actually the single most likely outcome, it's still great, but it's less than the dream. This is the risk baked into trading for distressed assets. You can control the process, but you cannot control the ping pong balls.
Exactly. So the Seattle Storm via LA, they're in that interesting retool but not total rebuild spot. They're hoping for 1 or 2, obviously, but even at 3 or 4, they can slide in an impact piece that fits alongside what they already have instead of starting from ground zero. Their leverage comes after the lottery, too. If they land higher than expected, that pick can become a trade chip on top of being a potential draft pick. They can either draft their future or flip that asset for a star who's ready today.
Washington Mystics. Washington has the most emotionally brutal profile. They struggled enough to be in the lottery, but not enough to have strong odds. So if they don't hit the top 2, they're staring at a 65% chance of picking fourth and another 12% of picking fifth. That's the classic, are we stuck in the middle situation? Good enough not to be a disaster, not bad enough to be in control of the top picks, trying to thread the needle between developing young talent and staying competitive right now. Chicago Sky via Connecticut. Chicago is playing 4D chess with a blindfold on. Their own poor record created a high-value asset that now lives in Minnesota. But they still have a lottery ticket through the Connecticut pick. The odds say, most likely outcome, they end up at number 5 and have to live with it. But if they jump to number 1 or number 2, off that tiny probability, massive leverage.
And absolutely they could. Draft a franchise player and build around her, or flip that surprise top pick for multiple established pieces to speed up the turnaround. That's the risk reward again of trading your future. It can haunt you, or it can be the reason you're still relevant on lottery night.
This is where fan bases need therapy, because you're watching the lottery hoping your pick jumps while simultaneously doom scrolling that screen to see what your old pick did for someone else.
So here's the big takeaway. The 2026 WNBA Draft Lottery is not just a TV special. It is a price-fixing event for draft assets, a validation or indictment of front office strategy, and a fork in the road for rebuilds, retools, and just blow it up already rosters.
And once the order is set, picks get values attached to them. Trade calls start, board rankings become real decisions and not hypotheticals, and franchises have to decide, do we draft the cornerstone or do we move this pick for proven talent?
Whoever wins number 1 isn't just winning Lauren Betts or whoever they fall in love with at the top of their board. They're winning marketing leverage, negotiation power, and a different timeline.
And everybody else, they're figuring out whether tonight was a green light, a yellow light, or a big flashing red, you better rethink the whole plan warning.
All right, so we've talked about 2 very different kinds of chaos. WPBL, where being drafted doesn't guarantee a contract, and the WNBA, where ping pong balls can rewrite your franchise's next 5 years. Now let's talk about the people at the center of all of this. The athletes in 3 groups: the drafted, the dashed, and the undiscovered.
Because no matter which bucket you fall into, you still have decisions to make.
So if you got drafted, whether it's WPBL or WNBA, wherever, you're not finished. You're invited. You are a line on a depth chart, a file in someone's scouting database, a chip on a whiteboard. You are not guaranteed a contract, a rotation spot, a second chance. For the WPBL draftees especially, half of you aren't going to make it to the final roster, and some of you may not even get to camp. That's not me being harsh. That's just how the numbers shake out.
And I'll be real with you. This is where you find out what kind of worker you actually are. Because the dopamine hit from draft night goes away fast. What's left is the 6 a.m. lifts, the conditioning when your legs already hate you, the boring skill work, same footwork, same reads over and over. If you're drafted, this should be your mindset. They gave me a door, I still have to knock it off the hinges.
Exactly. And from the legal agent side, there are 3 questions we want every drafted athlete asking. 1, what exactly are they offering me on paper? Not vibes, not promises, terms, dates, dollars, rights you're giving up. 2, how secure is my spot realistically? Am I clearly in their top 10 players? Am I a bubble player they like but can cut without blinking? And then 3, how does this fit in my bigger plan? Am I using this league as a launch pad, as a home, as a stepping stone to something else?
If you treat the draft as a destination, you will get your heart broken. But if you treat it as a lever, you can actually build something.
So now let's talk to the folks whose phones didn't ring, the ones who sat through the WPBL draft and never heard their name, or watch the WNBA lottery and realize or will watch the WNBA lottery tonight and realize their team doesn't have a shot at drafting them early. That hurts, it's personal, and it feels like a verdict. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The draft is not a talent census, it's a limited inventory event. There are way more good players than there are picks.
Yeah, we've seen it for years. Kids who should have been at big D1 schools end up at JUCOs or mid majors and they still cook. Or players who didn't get drafted carve out overseas careers and then sneak back into camps and make rosters. Being dashed is not a character judgment. It's simply your number didn't fit on the board today.
So what do you do if you get passed over? From my side of the table, I'd say your next move should be get rational before you start sending emails. Give yourself 24 hours to feel it. Cry, cuss, go for a run, whatever. Just don't start calling GMs while you're still proverbially bleeding. Ask, where did I actually get seen? Did decision makers truly watch me, or am I still a rumor and a highlight tape? And then find the next visibility window. That could be overseas leagues, team tryout camps, national team competitions, semi-pro and summer circuits, or building a deliberate film and stat packaging for coaches and agents.
And from the performance side, fix your body, fix your weaknesses, give them fewer reasons to say no next time. If coaches said she can't defend in space, your next 3 months, defense in space. If it's conditioning, your next 3 months, cardio and strength. You can't control their board. You can absolutely control whether you show up better the next time your name crosses somebody's screen.
Now, the third group is my favorite. It's the undiscovered. You're the ones who aren't in draft pools yet, aren't on mock drafts, aren't getting calls, but you know you've got game.
For you, the path is not sit and wait for a scout magically to find you. The path is document, distribute, differentiate.
Document means get real game film, not just mixtapes, possessions, full games, good and bad.
Distribute means stop posting one clip a month and calling that marketing. Build consistent social content, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, a simple website or link tree, a clean resume, height, positions, stats, GPA, NIL eligibility if you're an amateur.
Differentiate means what makes you not just another guard or another forward. Are you a one-handed outfielder like Brittany Apgar, a late career vet like Michaela Minner in the WPBL world, a defensive specialist, a culture piece, a creator with a built-in audience?
And don't forget, coaches talk. If you're a great player and a terrible teammate, word gets around.
And if you're a good player and an amazing worker, that also gets around.
You don't need some fairy God Scout. What you need is one coach, one agent, one GM who sees you at the right time and hears the right story.
So here's the punchline for all three categories. Whether you are drafted, dashed, or undiscovered, you're going to have to answer the same question. What am I building that lasts longer than one night?
For drafted players, use the league as a platform and not a personality transplant. Protect your name, your IP, your long-term earning capacity.
For dashed players, let this be a data point, not your identity. Adjust the plan. Don't abandon the dream if your body and game are still talking.
For undiscovered players, stop waiting to be chosen. Start behaving like a professional long before anybody writes you a professional check.
And if you're listening to this as a parent, calm down on the our life is over energy. Help your kid get curious. Okay, what's next? What's the next window? How can we make you impossible to ignore?
The WPBL and the WNBA are operating at different levels with different money and different structures, but they're doing the same thing, converting performance into selective opportunity. The funnel is always going to be smaller at the top.
Our job, your job, is to understand how the funnel works, tell the truth about where you sit in it today, and then make choices that give future you more options, not fewer.
Mike's money line. Because the draft is a moment, your career is a timeline.
Amen.
So don't let one moment, good or bad, trick you into thinking the timeline is done. All right, let's land this plane.
We've covered a lot today. We've talked about the WPBL draft, where being selected is an invitation, not a guarantee, and how half of those draftees will never see opening day.
We talked about the 2026 WNBA Draft Lottery, where ping-pong balls and 2-year records will decide who gets a shot at players like Lauren Betts, Olivia Miles, and the top of a loaded class.
And we talk directly to the drafted, the dashed, and the undiscovered about what you do next when the cameras turn off.
And here's the Mike's Money line again. The draft is a moment. Your career is a timeline again. So do not let one night, good or bad, convince you that the story is over.
And if you got drafted, congrats, celebrate, take pictures, hug everybody, and then get back to work. Ask for the contract, read the terms, train like camp is a knife fight with smiles.
If you didn't get drafted, you're allowed to hurt. You're allowed to be mad. Just don't decide your future in that headspace. Take a breath, rebuild the plan, find the next window. Overseas, camps, national teams, semi-pros, or the content lane.
And if you're still undiscovered, start building the version of you that's impossible to ignore. On film, in the weight room, and in how you carry your name and your brand.
For the parents listening, we see you too. Your kid's journey is not a straight line. Your job is not to micromanage every bounce of the ball. It's to build a stable runway.
Help them understand what just happened, see the options that still exist, and remember who they are outside of a depth chart.
And for the front office nerds and draft junkies, you already know I got you. After the WNBA lottery hits, we'll be back with a special fast break. Who jumped? Who slid? Which front offices are cooking? And which fan bases need a group hug and some cap sheet therapy? So make sure you're subscribed whenever you listen, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the spots.
And if this episode helped you, share it with an athlete who needs to hear it. Drop us a rating or a review. Tag us on socials and tell us whether you're feeling drafted, dashed, or undiscovered right now. You can find more from us and from Ball and Play Sports Agency at our site and on our socials. All are linked in the show notes.
From Hollywood, Florida to whatever gym, field, or driveway you're grinding in, keep building your game, your name, and your legacy.
I'm Lee.
I'm Michael.
And this has been a AAA Ball and Play podcast. You're listening to the AAA Ball and Play podcast. Quick note, this is for education and entertainment. Nothing here is legal, tax, or financial advice, and nothing we say creates an athlete-agent relationship. Listening or contacting us does not make us your lawyers or your agents. For advice, talk to a qualified professional in your state.